All right, welcome to another episode of Poetic Thought. My name is Daniel Feint, and I will be your host for the next few moments, whether that's defined as 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or however long you listen. I'm feeling in a pretty good mood. I was putting off recording another segment to upload for this podcast or radio broadcast. I think I'm going to do it tonight, that I'll upload it and broadcast it. So anyway, the topic for today is, are all thoughts beneficial? I kind of like this idea because I was originally going to do a show about the holographic universe, and I'll get into what I was learning about that later. Basically, I was just asking myself, I was sitting here, are all thoughts beneficial? Because I was studying about the holographic universe, and it's a way of perceiving the universe, that everything boils down to energy and the collective, and that conscious or God downloads it to our brain, and basically we interact with this holographic projection from the flat universe, projecting this image that our senses interact with, and all this really wild stuff. And I don't know what happened to me, but I don't know if I got depressed or if I got so out there in my thinking that it just led to me having some really rough days. So anyway, I don't know how much I'm going to go into that, but what I do want to explore is the idea of thoughts being beneficial. I know that when I think certain thoughts, I can observe them or I can think them. If they're linear in nature, that means that I'm thinking them, and if I'm just noticing them, I have the opportunity to entertain them and go with an idea of what to do next or what to say next. Right now, I guess this is a linear, hopefully, sequence of thoughts that I'm speaking right now. The thing about one things that aren't beneficial, in my opinion, is when my thoughts of the past interact with my imagination of the future. I feel that when I worry about what I'm going to do next as far as my creative expression, I don't know what will happen, but I could spend hours or days on occasion throughout the day thinking, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And that's basically taking up the time and the space in my mind that would allow for the thought and idea of what I could do creatively, and to just take the action towards that. Alright, I'm going to go back to the idea of the holographic universe. I took some notes, so I might as well share them with you. Like I said before, it was talking about, there's a 5-part series on YouTube called The Holographic Universe. It talks about the brain as a receiver that receives the stream of consciousness, whether it be God consciousness or what the guy in the video called the infinite I, or higher self, maybe. But basically, it's downloaded to our brain, which he's saying is actually a holographic image as well. Like I said, the stuff is really way out there, but and then the brain uses the 5 senses of the body to interpret the experience of our reality. One thing that was also mentioned is the double slit experiment from quantum mechanics, whereas the smallest particle of matter, when observed, acts as a particle of experience. So basically, us as the conscious observer sort of bring things into form. When things aren't observed, then matter itself is actually a wave of possibilities, of infinite possibilities. So, let's see. I asked myself, is there a benefit by receiving and perceiving a higher frequency experiential... let me try that again. Is there a benefit by receiving and perceiving higher frequency experiential choices from the download of consciousness into life? As I see it, it's almost like a stream of thought data consisting of 2 downloads happening at the same time. The packets of information or thoughts need to be sorted or shifted through to create the complete download of the experience I'm looking for. I download one download being a low frequency experience and the other being a high frequency experience. However, the truth of being that there isn't duality. In fact, there is only one stream of data. Now, what does this all mean? To me, it means that there's always a possibility of tuning into a radio station. If our mind and brain is the receiver, we have the opportunity to tune into a different type of television show, a reality show, a comedy, a drama, however we want to perceive what is being received. Okay. Now, so let's see. So basically, if it's an experiential download and it's not what we want, we can easily cancel the download or delete the situation file for there are infinitely new thoughts arriving to choose from. Okay. Now, this is another thing about the holographic projection. The videos were saying my body is an image created by my brain, and that the refraction of sight from the eyeballs. Okay, I may be confused, but let's see. If our eyes are only perceiving that we have a body, if we were to put it under a high-powered electron microscope or whatever, and the feeling that we have as touch, as to I'm touching the chair, I'm touching the table, touching my computer, to sort of verify that it's actually there. Gravity is an interesting concept to throw into this as well. Let's see. In the simplest thing, I could press a reset button, just be tuned into the now, tuned into the present moment. There is another author, Michael Neill, Neill, who just released a book, The Inside Out Revolution, that I read. Very, very good. I wrote a review on Amazon for it, and he calls it the kindness of the design, or the intelligence behind the system. So I would basically recommend reading that book. It's about thought, mind, and consciousness, but it doesn't involve the holographic confusion that I'm possibly presenting here. It's very well read and talks about how insights, it was very well written, and it talks about how insights can be obtained to sort of bring, as he refers to, a glass elevator of experience to rise to higher levels of consciousness. So let's see, on here my notes, I'll let go of trying to control my thoughts, because it is not intended for us to control our thoughts. Basically, this is going back to, I know I'm all over the place, but if you're still with me, I appreciate it. It goes back to the idea that the reality that we see, we don't create it, and we don't conceive it. We just perceive it. And now my phone is beeping. Understand where our experience is coming from. Understanding where our experience is coming from. Let's see, what is this note all about? The higher the frequency we are tuned into, the more time we spend with enjoyable experiences. Let's see. A constant stream of reality is unfolding and being sent into form or reality. The physical mind does not conceive thought or create. God, being, or consciousness does. I am only looking at the road and traveling the path. I am not driving the bus, and the other side of the field is driving the bus. The field being the zero-point field, the most basic form of energy, which everything's made up of. We merely receive reality and act with it any way we want. So those are the notes upon that. I'm about 9 minutes and some odd seconds into the recording. Again, this is my Blog Talk radio show, Poetic Thought. It's not a live show, unfortunately, so you could call in, but you'd basically be talking to a recording. I'm sorry, I don't take calls. I just record stuff and upload it. That's my plan anyway for the present moment. I was thinking about some ideas for writing in the future. I basically have done poetry. If you want to check out my poetry, you can go to my site, DanielFeind.com, DanielFeind.com. That link is on my Blog Talk Radio profile. And if you want to check out my poetry or my artwork, you can check it out there. I just launched a new book that I was editing, the second edition. It's called Eternal Connection, Dimensional Word Selection, which is 240 poems. And the audio should be available on iTunes and Amazon hopefully soon. It's just a matter of time for getting it in their database. So some other type of writing that I want to do is the everyday wisdom to interact with life. I want to write about some receiving and transmitting, some emotional navigation, when things are just a thought and I don't have to entertain or buy into them, but just recognize that. Affirming and visualizing, the more specific that I actually am in what I want to achieve or where I am now, the easier it'll come into form. I was listening to another audio about the art of believing, or just talking about believing, but I want to talk about the art of it, which basically believing in something can actually align with my goals just by asking and taking action. Let's see. I want to write about and talk about things throughout the next few months of my creative endeavors. Things that apply to all mankind, and that you don't need a degree to understand it. It just basically applies to all areas of life that are being experienced every day. For one example is obligation. I have to, which in my opinion leads to misery. Life is too short to not do what we want to do and be miserable. So every choice that I have made in my life has led up to this current situation. So let bygones be bygones, and just enjoy whatever I'm doing now. Let's see. Thought and action, thought and emotion. Wow, this is a really just go with the flow type of show. Alright, well, that's about it. I know I don't have too long of recording or broadcast, but I hope you like to tune in to see what I'm doing or see what I'm saying or see what my notes that I've written are about. It's kind of also sporadic as to when I broadcast these things, but I hope you enjoy what I have to present. I hope everybody out there who is listening to this, whether you are or not, I hope everybody out there is having a good evening. It's 10:30 at night here, and I'm enjoying my time doing this, and let's see, I guess, so everybody take good care, and I'll try my best to put some things together to share with you at another time on another episode of Poetic Thought. Feel free to go to my website. Again, it's danielfeindt.com, DanielFeindt.com. And I just created a Facebook page for that, which I have to update my profile on the Blog Talk Radio. As always, I thank Blog Talk Radio for the opportunity for me to be able to speak these words out to the planet Earth, or whoever has a computer and is aligned with the time and the finding of this show to listen to it. Okay, so it's been a little bit over 14 minutes that I've been recording. I'm going to sign up for a 15-minute show slot and go from there. Anything else I want to say? Well, just be in the present moment. Take one thing at a time. Not every experience is the same as all the others, but deeming it as bad is probably going to lead to it being bad because that's how we perceive it. So I wish that all of you perceive everything as what needs to be and what's wanted to be, so you can sort of take control of your reality and all that good stuff. All right, take